am I missing, John? Where are you? In Michigan, in Detroit, Michigan. Again, let me be specific what it is. This whole new thing that never happened before in our country, these mail-in ballots, which has been a cause of real concern for everyone because they can easily be fraudulent. Well, one of the things that the law attaches to that is the right for both parties to observe the ballot, the way we do with absentee ballots. You make certain it's properly signed. On the outside, there's a signature. You make sure that it's properly postmarked. You make sure that it's properly addressed, and then you pass on it. A number of these are often challenged by the Democrat representative or the Republican representative. We never got a chance to look at a single one of them. The gentleman here who did this for us says about 100,000 ballots went through that process in the 20 plus hours in which they wasted his time by not allowing him to see a single ballot. Well, that's 120,000 ballots that should just be taken out of the count. So you want to look at that number, that 120,000 should come out. And this is an area in which Biden is getting 60, 70% of the vote. I don't know if this is going on any other place, but it is going on in enough frequency in Wisconsin that we've brought suit. And now we'll have to look into 3 other places. What it says to me is this is a concerted effort of the crooks that run the Democrat Party. And you know these big city machines are crooked. You know that. 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 100 years of one-party rule leads to corruption of all kinds. Voter fraud is one of the biggest because that's how you keep your power. But we're not going to let them get away with it. They're not going to steal this election. This election gets decided by the people. These people, the elite, they don't care about the people. The people are the deplorables, the chumps. They're not important. To President Trump, he's the whole reason that he ran for office. And he's the whole reason for which he's carrying on this campaign, so that your vote can mean something, so that your vote doesn't get wiped out by 100,000 fraudulent, meaningless paper ballots that no one gets to observe. So we are going to continue the lawsuit here. We're going to bring a second one, and then we're going to bring a federal lawsuit. And we're going to take a very good look at whether we bring this nationally. We certainly are going to bring it here and in Wisconsin. Quite possibly, we'll do a national lawsuit and really expose the corruption of the Democrat Party. But this is beyond anything I've ever seen before. This comes when you think you have so much power and you own the media that you can do anything you want. Well, sorry, we're going to fight for the people. We're going to vindicate their right. And the ultimate result is President Trump has won Pennsylvania. I've never heard of a count where you're ahead by 400,000 with 80+% counted, and they haven't called it for you yet. They called California the moment the polls closed. How many votes do you have to be ahead to win, for a Republican to win here? How many votes do we have to be ahead? 400,000 is not enough with 80+% counted. I think there's only 14% of the vote to go. Do you think we're stupid? You think we're fools? You know something? The Democrats do think you're stupid, and they do think you're fools. And that's why you get called deplorable and chumps. It's over. We're going to stick with this. We're going to win this election. We've actually won it. Just a matter of counting the votes fairly. So I'd like to ask the former Attorney General of Florida, Pam Bondi, to explain what's been going on at the polling places, which is just as dastardly and just as criminal.
Good evening, everyone. And as Eric Trump said, we are thrilled to have won Pennsylvania with 87% of the vote in, and we're up almost 400,000 votes. So we're thrilled. And you ask, well, why do we care about the rest of the votes? Because it is about the integrity of this election. And every vote, as Mayor Giuliani in every state, must be counted fairly. What we have seen, and we have a video of it that we will release to you. They put up, it looks like a police barricade all the way around the perimeter, and they are keeping our poll watchers back approximately 30 feet. at least 30 feet. You can judge for yourselves. They would not let them look any further. There is a gentleman there by the name of Seth Bluestein, who is an assistant to a city commissioner, and he is wearing a badge the size of a baseball. And as far as I know, he's not a sworn law enforcement officer. So it looks like intimidation to me, with a police barricade and a man wearing a huge badge around his neck. He told them they can't come any closer. He said the reason was because of they can't interfere with the process, and then something about COVID. Well, we all know at the polls, you have to stay 6 feet apart. Our poll watchers have no problem with staying 6 feet away, yet they weren't allowed to do this. So we're going to release that video to you because then they also had binoculars. Our poll watchers brought out a pair of binoculars. They were shut down on the binoculars, but then they were told, well, okay, you can use the binoculars. So that's a concession that we are allowed to observe the ballots. Yet clearly, when you see how big the room is, you cannot see every ballot. You can only see with the binoculars the ones that are closest to you. So that's a concession by them, and they're still not letting us see this. So we need to fix this. We need to remedy this now because we've won Pennsylvania, and we want every vote to be counted in a fair way. Thank you, and I'd like to introduce Corey Lewandowski.
General Bondi and I will be here for the remainder until you all realize that President Trump has won this state. We have now officially declared the state of Pennsylvania Trump country. Until the last vote is counted, General Bondi and I will be here. I'm sure we'll be in constant communication with you. We will be releasing that video shortly, and we appreciate your time. There'll be no questions today. Thank you very much.
Jeremy? This is a gentleman, I'll have him introduce himself. This is a gentleman who volunteered 2 days of his time in order to do a civic duty and was obstructed in a horrible way by the crooked Democrat machine of Philadelphia, which really has been around so long. It's a shame.
Hi, thank you, Mayor. Jeremy Mercer, and I was at the polls or at the pre-canvass yesterday from 7 a.m. until just after midnight. Back again this morning just before 8 a.m. until around 2:30, and as has been described very well, we're there, supposedly observing, but we can't see. We're further away than I am from you all here. At least 100 feet away from open ballots that go back out of our sight. We can't see them. We don't know what's happening to them. It's just, there's no way for us to meaningfully observe the process from where they have us.
Could you tell us how many ballots approximately went through that process that you had no chance to observe?
Based on the counts that we've heard, it's about 125,000, maybe more.
Well, so that should be deducted from the count. Those are ballots that were counted in violation of the law without an observation. And since this is a novel procedure, this mail-in thing, observation is particularly important to satisfy the possibility that you can defraud. This isn't as if you come in and show an identification. So that's what we're going to be seeking here and in Wisconsin, and quite possibly nationally, if there's as much evidence in Arizona and Nevada and Michigan.
No questions right now.
Thank you very much, guys. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
I forgot this. Sorry.